Europe, of course, is a very, very unique market. There are 27 countries, 23 different languages spoken.
As you might imagine, this can add drastically to the complexity of finding executives in the European region.
One of the key mistakes some companies make is forecasting the wrong timescales to get someone on board. In countries like Sweden and France, there are often 3-month notice periods. The best situation to be in is where you've got a choice of 3 or 4 or 5 really solid candidates for your role. One of the mistakes we find is when companies don't search properly and end up just chasing 1 or maybe 2 and then ending up with nothing and then back to square one.
One of the other issues we've seen, and we continue to see, and I'm sure we will continue to see, is organisations trying to attract the very, very best people with uncompetitive packages. And you might have the best proposition in the world and you might have a great candidate that's interested, but unless the compensation will actually work for both parties, of course, but unless it works for the candidate too, the deal's not going to close.
Frankly, the best senior commercial people aren't proactively looking at online job boards. They expect to be approached by organisations such as ourselves. Our recent survey only showed that 5% of salespeople found their last role through an online job board.
But when you get approached by a small, high-growth software company like a Huddle, for instance, if you haven't heard of that company before, it very often needs some proactive selling. We're very, very strong at positioning these hot, new, high-growth companies that come to Europe. We know how to present them, we know who to go to, and we know how to present these organisations and these opportunities to high achievers.
One of the biggest mistakes is not really searching and looking at all the options available in the marketplace, often taking a friend of a friend or a friend of a colleague, where if you actually searched properly you could have ended up with a much stronger candidate. Culturally, we understand the huge amounts of pressure hiring managers are under to drive and increase revenue internationally. We actually support them in building up their teams on their behalf to release them from the pressure of the hiring so they can focus on the revenue targets.
Anybody is interested in receiving a copy of our report about how to avoid the 5 biggest mistakes when hiring in Europe, they can email us. The address is here.